Coastal mining issues in the Philippines. Black sand is considered a sources of many ores used in building and construction, such as iron and steel industry. That is beside wide application in concrete and painting industries. So here are some of the coastal mining issues. First is that black sand mining disturbs marine and coastal ecosystem and increases erosion and associated geohazards. Offshore mining of magnetite can increase vulnerability to floods as magnetite holds the sand together. The absence of magnetite in the sand can deplete and erode the coastal and near shore areas, as the experience of Bawang La Union had shown. Bawang municipal government is now putting up seawalls as a mitigating measure for possible flooding. Another issue is that subsidence is expected to continue after cessation of the water extraction due to residual compaction. In Gonzaga, Cagayan, a wrecked water tank of the village health center is all that is left of Zone 7 of Barangay Caroan, a village along the coastline of Gonzaga town in Cagayan province. Around 100 houses used to stand in the coastal area but are now submerged underwater. The complete list of existing mineral production sharing agreement from the Mines and Geosciences Bureau shows four mining corporations were approved to explore magnetite and other associated mineral deposits starting June 9, 2010 in offshore areas of Sanchez, Mira, Pamplona, Abulug, Ballesteros, Apari, Bugey, and Gonzaga in the province of Cagayan. In September 2013, 10 more firms were granted mining permits in the province. Here are other list of the coastal mining issues. So loss of farmlands near the coastal areas due to flooding brought about by coastal erosion and depletion, loss of marine sources of food and livelihood, especially in coastal areas of the region, and its effects to IPs, as the mining areas being targeted for explorations are usually those in remote areas being occupied by various ethno-linguistic groups. Another identified coastal mining issue specifically in seabed quarrying, as it requires scraping of the seabed for filling materials needed for dump and fill, also known as reclamation projects. So seabed quarrying and ore mining cause massive damages and losses in fishing grounds that serve as sources of livelihood for subsistence fisher folks. It also impacts the seabed morphology, which causes the loss of endemic organisms found in the seafloor substrate. Deep sea mining can cause nutrification, sedimentation, and siltation that can smother coral reefs and filter feeding organisms. It also has a negative impact on megafauna like whales, dolphins, and sea turtles, as well as on photosynthetic organisms like phytoplankton. So here is an example of a black sand mining site in Lingayen Gulf. The mining project is the Iron Ore Pangasinan Offshore Magnetite Mining Project proposed by Iron Ore, Gold, and Vanadium Resources Philippines Incorporated. It covers an area of 9,252 hectares. And the project is expected to cause the clarity of the water to deteriorate and will cause the resuspension and dispersal of fine-grained material, thereby disturbing the habitat of marine organisms. The high volume of suspended material in Lingayen Gulf due to the mining project will also lessen fish catch. So, opposition Senator Laila M. De Lima has proposed a Senate bill 1075, an act prohibiting black sand mining in the Philippines, providing penalties therefore and for other purposes. So it seeks to prohibit black sand mining operations in the country, which continue to wreak environmental havoc while placing people's health and livelihood at great peril. Here are some of the laws and regulations related to mining. RA 7942, or the Philippine Mining Act of 1995. So it iterates that the state ownership of mineral resources in public and private lands and states the responsibility of promoting their rational exploration, development, utilization, and conservation through combined efforts of government and private sector, with the end in view of enhancing economic growth. At the time of promulgation, a global economic crisis was felt everywhere, and the autocrats in government felt that this would bring the country back to its feet. A downside of the law was the provision to allow 100% foreign ownership of a mine contracting company for projects worth over 50 million. But this was explained as part of the move to pull in foreign investments. So basically, this is what RA 7942 consists of. So it contains details on the agreements, reservations, and applications, and how the permit holders are mandated to implement projects to protect the environment. For all type of agreements, an exploration permit acts as starting point for the operation. Exploration is done to ensure that the targeted area contains enough mineral resources to be mineable economically. Since the mineral resource is owned by the state, an operator may enter into an agreement with the state to develop the resources. There are four types of mineral agreements which can be applied for. First, the Mineral Production Sharing Agreement, or the MPSA. Second is the Joint Venture Agreement. Third is the Co-Production Agreement, or Financial and Technical Assistance Agreement. And the last is a special agreement where 100% foreign ownership is allowed if the investment is over 50 million US dollars. Another one is signed by former President Joseph Ejercito Estrada on September 30, 1999. So it's an executive order with number 105-3, series of 1999, authorizing the utilization of offshore areas not covered by approved mining permits and contracts as sources of dredge fill materials for government reclamation projects and for other purposes. Surveys, sampling, site selection, dredging, and related operations in borrow areas shall be subject to monitoring by the DANR for compliance with existing mining and environmental laws, rules and regulations, and other applicable guidelines. Another one is RA 10654, the Philippine Fisheries Code of 1998, which prohibits activities that damage coral reefs, cause aquatic pollution, obstruct the navigation or flow in any stream, river, lake, or bay, or obstruct defined migration paths. Aside from the national agencies, such as the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, local government units are also tasked with the protection of fisheries and aquatic resources, specifically for municipal waters. Here are my references. Thank you.